Yo, what's going on? It's almost New Year's. On New Year's Eve, I will be with you again. What's up, everyone? It's Giants talk. Maybe a little Knicks. Because we're playing the Rams. We're playing with nothing. We have the OG QB starting for the New York Football Giants. We finally have gone away from the Tommy DeVito and back to
who's he? The OG QB.
Maybe we'll talk about a little draft speculation. I'm a little upset that RJ Barrett's gone. I don't want to talk about that right now because that's a Nick talk. Let's talk Giants stuff. We'll do a Nick video maybe tomorrow. Or maybe Tuesday, we'll let the Nick video come out because I think there's something still behind the Nick trade. Did they give up too much? You didn't give up any of your first round assets. You gave up that second rounder from the Timberwolves, I think it was. Can't remember who it was from. You got a premier defensive player, a 3-and-D guy, combined with Josh Hart. You're still low in size. You know, we did pick up a center. We did pick up a true point guard. So there was more to this trade, but quickly with DiVincenzo playing, quickly was going down his minutes and speculation that he wasn't even going to be re-signed. So it's neither here nor there, but we got the New York Football Giants against the Los Angeles Rams. Rams hunting for a playoff spot. Giants hunting for a fifth overall pick. Keep seeing rumors and speculations that the Bears are in a quandary right now, what they want to do with that first overall pick, what they want to do, what they're going to speculate to do with it. It looks like Justin Fields is making it more and more difficult for them to jump on Caleb Williams. You can keep do you keep Fields? Do you trade out of that spot? Do you get a king's ransom for Caleb? We got T-Brad in his house. What's up, T-Brad? That's a speculation. This is a nothing game. This is a mean. Hey, we got Jeff Newman also in here. This is a nothing game for the Giants. This is, and everyone's like, well, why are we not playing Tommy DeVito? Why are we not playing Tommy Gunn? Why not see what the kid has? Because the kid doesn't have anything. I'm sorry. He will be a great clipboard holder in this league. He will be a great practice squad player, no doubt in my mind. He had his moment. He had his glory. He had his 3 wins, and then he ran into actual NFL teams, and it got ugly. Because we've said it before. When his mechanics breaks down, he does not have the arm strength to step up into the pocket and overcome that. If you're in defense, it's simple. Just give him the 2-yard pass. Keep everything in front. Give him the 2-3-yard pass. Put him in 3rd and long because he can't throw deep. It's not a slight against him. I still think I got a better arm than Tommy DeVito. But that's not, But but when you sit there and every scouting report tells you his mechanical if he has a mechanical failure in reference to his throwing motion, he does not have the arm strength to overcome these things. And I said it before, and I said, watch statistically, every game his stats are going to go down. And that's not me being omnipotent. That's because of the fact that that's what happens with rookie quarterbacks. The more and more you play, look at Will Levis, 4 touchdowns in his first game. Now he can't even get a touchdown pass. Because as the game speeds up, as teams blitz, as they figure out and get more film, they see what they can and cannot do. So it's time to get a prospect. It's time to get, Matthew said it right here. We need an elite prospect. Can't just throw the crap at the wall and hope it sticks. We need a crap against the wall sound effect. You know what? That's good. You know what? I think you just created, Matthew, I think you just created a new sound effect. Crap against the wall sound effect. Because I think that's what you need. Do we have that? Let me see if we have crap being thrown against the wall sound effect. Crap. Throw. Hold on. Crap throw. Wall. No, we don't have crap being chucked at a wall. Hold on. You know what? I think we do have one. No, I don't have. I don't have it. I thought I did. I thought I would have a crap against the wall sound effect. Let's see here. Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. There we go. Here we go. How about wet mud? That's it. We don't want crap against the wall anymore. That's what we don't need. Yeah, what did you start? Hey ho, Juan, what's up? Hey Tim, good morning. Oh, happy New Year. This is a game that the Giants need just to evaluate. Take guys that have having injuries, anyone that could potentially have an issue that can cause into 2024. Sit them down. Yeah, you got 2 home games. You got a home game against the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to need next week. Just sit your guys down and evaluate your talent. Beavers. Leave it to Beavers is going to be playing, which I think is funny. T-Brad says, I'm willing to take Penix at 5, no problem. Only thing, like I said, here's the problem I have with Penix. Michael Penix Jr. Age, injuries, wonky windup, wonky throwing motion. Talent, oh God, yeah. Talent is there. Can you overlook 2 ACLs and this windup that looks like a stork throwing a watermelon or a grapefruit or a piece of crap on the floor? you gotta look at that. It's that windup that bothers me a little bit. But like I said, rest your starters. Let's see who's on the New York Giants injury report. Let me check the injury report here. On New Year's Day, I will be with you again. Let's see here. Banks, of course, was limited practice. He is questionable right now. Cager is doubtful, which means he's not playing. You got Dexter Lawrence was limited in practice. I don't play Dexter. You got Ashawn and Nachos had limited practice. You had a full practice from Saquon Barkley with the elbow issue. He's been dealing with that all year. You got the quad from Bredesen. You got the quad from Wando's questionable as well with the quad. You got a shoulder with John Michael Schmitz. Darren Waller was a full participant in practice. Justin Payou, also it was a full participant in practice. You got Adoree Jackson, also was a full participant in practice the other day. So, you're looking at probably Banks is going to be questionable. If I'm the Giants, I don't play Banks. I don't play Robinson. You're not going to win this game anyways. You're not going to win it. I mean, maybe the defense steps up big. I do have a lot of confidence in the OG QB to wreck our draft status. I have a lot of confidence in that. I'm holding a coffee mug. I'm not drinking any coffee. Let's get to some people in the chat. What the hell is this? I was cleaning my desk, and something fell out of the keyboard. What is that? Oh, that is a Mark Collins card. I was looking at going, that ain't Butch Woolfolk. That's a Mark Collins card. It fell out of the keyboard over there. I don't know what happened. Let's see what we got here. We got Emmanuel in his house. We got Blackbird saying, what about, we're about to get crushed, Tim. I don't disagree with that. Good morning, whatever's from Skyline. Mr. McCormick, RJ is gone. DJ is next. We can only hope. The last 2 times we played the Rams, it's a combined 89 to 28. Yeah, that's not good. My birthday is on the 12th. I'll be 22. Well, happy birthday early. We'll have to, I'm going to do right here on the online Big Blue calendar. I am going to put your birthday, I'm going to put your birthday right here. I'm putting your birthday right here, my friend, and we were going to make sure that we give you the big old birthday wish on the video. So there you go. There you go. You are on my calendar. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. We got Jeff in the house. We got Chris saying, good morning, Tim. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Hope happy New Year to all. Blackbird I like Fields too. I like him as well. Nothing much, brother. Rooting for Washington and New England this week. Yeah, so am I. The bowl games have been for crap. Blackbird says, Tommy DeVito was an arm strength, cannot see down the field. I disagree with the fact that he can't see down the field. I think he actually can see down the field. And we've talked about this with Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm had command. Everyone talking about how he had command in the huddle. And then he was able to got his team up to the line. He was able to go through his pre-snap reads. He was able to make adjustments, call out the mic. 53's the mic, 53's the mic. He would then take the snap, and then he'd throw. And it would go 2 yards. That's kind of what happens with our old buddy Tommy DeVito. We got Zach Attack in the His House. Blackbird says the team figured him out. There was film on him now. You're right. We needed Juan says good morning, Tim. Happy New Year's, everyone. Happy New Year's, everyone. Matthew says we've been doing this crap throwing. We've been doing since 2019. It's time. It's time to move on. And yes, we do have a poop sound effect. Thrown up against the wall. Giants will upset the Eagles next week. Maybe the bus will break down on 95 and they won't show up. There's a possibility. To Protect says, I don't know if any elite prospects at the quarterback in the draft. I thought Drake May would be the guy. I don't know, man. He looks more like a project. We talked about Drake May before. Drake May, the scouts always say on the radio, he can make all the Sunday throws. I'm not a Drake May fan. I see Daniel Jones. I see a little bit more athletic Daniel Jones. I see more of a Kenny Pickett with an arm, with a better arm strength. I do think there are elite quarterback prospects in this draft. I do think that Caleb, for everyone's how much they're downplaying him, I do think he is an elite prospect. I'm starting to think that Jaden Daniels is an elite prospect. I think Penix, if you can overlook some of the things we just talked about earlier, could be an elite prospect as well. They're more 21st century quarterbacks. JJ McCarthy, again, he can make all the throws on Sunday, but he can't make the throws at Michigan. So, I mean, I think he should be a second or a third rounder. You got what's his name? Hartman out of Notre Dame, who probably should have came out of school last year. Probably would have been a first round pick last year. I see him like a third or fourth rounder. You know, it really depends. I do think there's 3 elite early picks for quarter. I do think there'll be a run on quarterbacks in this draft. I do think it's going to be a 2004-esque, because everyone always wants to talk about the when we talk about 2004, you want to talk about Big Ben, you want to talk about Phillip Rivers, you want to talk about Eli Manning, but people also forget that J.P. Lossman was taken later in that round, the first round, and Matt Schaub, I think, went in the second round. So there was 5 quarterbacks within like the first 40 picks taken. I could see that happening again. T-Brad says his ball placement is outstanding. I'm thinking he might have been talking about Drake. Oh, you're talking about Mr. Penix. Caleb or Jaden, but Shane won't pull the trigger. Run it back. Shane, of course, is going to come out and say, well, whatever we do, Daniel Jones will be in the mix next year. Daniel Jones will be. Yeah. He's got a $68 million dead cap number. Yeah, he's gonna be on the team next year. There is nothing that you could say or do to get away from that. The cap precludes you from doing anything with Daniel Jones. He's gonna eat up 18% of your cap space. Jalen Hyatt had no targets again. He drops passes, can't get up. Jalen Hyatt's biggest problem, as we talked about this, is the fact that I thought he was going to be like Devontae Smith, uses speed and quickness to get off the line and get around defenders. That's how Devontae Smith at his size gets off the line. And I think that's what I thought he was going to do. I really did. You know, the kid's barely 6 feet. He's 185 pounds. I thought he was going to have to use that speed, use that quickness just to get away from guys. Devontae Smith does it all the time, but the problem is he's getting jammed at the line. He's getting taken off his routes. And when that happens, you are taking more time to get into your pattern, to get into the secondary. And with our offensive line woes and our quarterback woes, you're just not going to get the ball. That's why I keep telling people Wan'Dale Robinson at 5'8" needs to just be a running back. Just take him out of the way and make him a running back. And then I love it because I'll say, I don't like small wide receivers. People say, well, Tyreek Hill. Well, Tyreek Hill's 5'10". Yeah, he's a smaller receiver, but Wan'Dale's 5'8". I've met Wan'Dale in person. I think he's more like 5'6". I think him and Kyler Murray might have a short-off contest. He was the shortest. So Dexter Lawrence is a beast. I do agree with that. Matthew says, Jaden, I really hope is our pick. I'll be excited if that is our pick. I will be very happy if that is our pick. I will think that would be a good pick. The Raiders could trade up to get the first pick. I tell you, everyone's talking about how Caleb Williams is kind of dropping down. That the speculation isn't there. The luster, the bloom is off the rose. It's I don't think so. I think when you get him into the combine, if he goes, or he'll go, but if he'll participate, because when you're that high up, he may not even want to just participate. But if at his pro day, I think you're gonna see something. Blackbird, you are appreciated as well, my friend. Ohio, hey, what's up, Tim? My birthday is tomorrow. Happy birthday to Ohio Hurricane. Everyone wish Ohio Hurricane a big old happy birthday, Ohio. We haven't seen you in a while, my brother. We miss Ohio. Did I ever leave Ohio? So everyone wish Mr. Ohio Hurricane a happiest birthday. So your birthday's on New Year's Day? That's great. That's awesome. I like that. Glenn says, hopefully, so another team wins so we can get a better pick once we lose out. I hope so. I'm not for tanking. I want to see a competitive game. I was going to go today, but I'm not going today because we got some car issues at the house. My wife's battery died in her car, so I can't leave the family. Unless my wife decides she knows how to ride a motorcycle, I can't leave the house. I can't leave the family. But I'm going to try to make the Eagle game because it is the last game of the season. And I do kind of want to go see that too. So, but I hope we do lose out. But I don't want to tank, but I do think we'll lose. Zacatech says Lions got hosed at the end of the game versus Cowboys. Dan Campbell is an idiot for not taking the extra point. Dan Campbell is an idiot for not taking the extra point, but at the end of the day, the refs did screw them. So, I mean, it's a catch-22 situation there. I mean, common knowledge, except if you're Ron Rivera, you take the point, but Nick says Drake May is another North Carolina Jones. Exact reason. Like I said, Drake May reminds me of Daniel Jones, maybe a little bit more athletic Daniel Jones. He reminds me of Kenny Pickett with a little bit more of an arm. And I can't run it back with the same guy over and over again. Yeah, you had Eli, but Phil Simms was totally different from Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins was totally different from Eli Manning. You went with the same similar type quarterback. And it's time to do something different. Tommy DeVito leaves a lot of meat on the bones. He misses wide open wide receivers for checkdowns, or he'll take off and run. Yeah, because he doesn't have the arm strength to get the ball out of there. And like I said, mechanically, if he breaks down his throwing motions, he's got no arm strength. J.J. McCarthy equals Jim Harbaugh. It's funny. Someone asked me the other day if Brian Dable left and you were able to get Jim Harbaugh, and he told you the only way he would come is if
that's what she said.
Is if he is allowed, if available, to draft J.J. McCarthy. I would have to think about that. Matthew says Mara will be running it back. Shane will be tied up in the closet by Chris Mara. You're not wrong. Glenn says, yes, DJ is in the mix. We'll draft a quarterback and DJ will play tight ends and fullback. Hey, why not? Tim Tebow tried it. Why not Daniel Jones? Give it a shot. But like I said, he's going to be back no matter what. I can't believe how many people bought into the Tommy DeVito. You know what's funny? Excuse me. You know what's funny about the Tommy DeVito thing? Twitter cracks me up. Because all these people on Twitter now are like, well, I knew Tommy DeVito wasn't going to be anything. I knew it. And then you go back and look at their posts. And it's like, yeah, you were standing in line for a $200 autograph for Tommy DeVito. Why don't you run a lap? My God. Wandale Robinson, Darren Sproles. That's the name I was trying to think of last week, and Zach brought that up. I was trying to think of the Chargers running back who went to Philadelphia, who Wandale reminds me of, and Darren Sproles would be the guy. We got big old LJ in the house on New Year's Day. What's up, LJ? Chris says, if Shane isn't in the quarterback market and feels he needs a trade up, you'll have a lot of competition for the top spot. I don't think we need to go to the top spot. I don't think we have to go that far up, unless somebody does something, unless someone makes something happen in regards to a big trade. Because right now, like I said, I think you're going to be sitting at 5. The problem is I don't think Chicago is going to take a quarterback. I really don't. Arizona's not going to take a quarterback. You have New England and Washington are probably going to take quarterbacks, and you got us. So you could potentially see New England. I think if it's me, I think Drake might go to New England. I think they see a little Tom Brady in him. But I worry that Jaden Daniels would go to Washington. And if Jaden Daniels goes to Washington, I quit. I mean, I seriously quit because that would be a killer. That would be someone we wouldn't be able to defend, and it would just be bad. It would just not be good. You're about to view an X on screen. Sure, I'll go on continue on Twitter. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I like when I push buttons when I'm in the middle of a show. Matthew says, how desperate are they for a quarterback? They're very desperate. They should be desperate. Happy birthday, Ohio Hurricane. OG Knockout said, Tim, we all know the Giants aren't drafting a black quarterback, plain and simple. You know, maybe they buck the trend. Maybe they do. Let's just, you know, I'm at this thought process that, you know, if I'm the Giants, I want to win. I've said it before. I'll take a black quarterback. Hell, I'll take a quarterback from Pluto. I don't care. As long as you can throw the ball, look down the field, and run. Do all the things that a 21st century quarterback needs to do. We got Big Stu in the his house. What's up, Stu? Good morning. Tommy DeVito jerseys are now $5. I mean, who? I mean, honestly, who really? Excuse me a second here. I mean, who really bought into? I mean, I know, you know, Rayo Sauce bought into the Tommy DeVito hype so much they cut a deal with him so he could sell their sauce under the name Tommy Cutlets. Now coming to a discount bin near you. Joe could sign a veteran quarterback. I think he could, but I don't know if he will. What are the details on Jones' injury clause in his contract? He may be on the roster, but will he? He'll play. He'll play. Jones will play. He's coming back from an ACL. He's going to play. Will he be? I think he'll be ready by like week 4 or 5, but he'll play. I don't think we need to worry about the injury clause. He's definitely going to play. Chicago is the big worry. They trade with the Russell Wilson. They trade with, and Russell Wilson goes to the. Now, Russell Wilson goes to Washington. That would be a Washington move, going to Russell Wilson. OG said, Jaden Daniels. Washington's getting Jaden Daniels, Tim, and the Giants are going to suck for 10 more years. I have a problem with that, too. LJ says, if we're going to get hurt, it would be trigger money for 2,000. If he's going to get. Well, yeah, but the problem is he's going to come back. Unless the neck injury is more of an issue than we think it is, Daniel Jones is coming back. He's coming back. T-Brad said, just because you get a quarterback first round doesn't mean you can't fix the line as well. Please spread the word. Yeah, okay. This is a great point that T-Brad brings up. You get a quarterback in the first round, okay? Here's the shocking thing. You can draft offensive linemen. You can. I know this sounds weird, but you can do that. It's allowed. It's not allowed. And I think people need to understand that when that happens, you can still fix the offensive line vis-a-vis free agency. You can still fix the line, you know, vis-a-vis the draft. These are things that you can still do. And you're going to have enough picks. Because you figure you got what do we got? 2 second rounders? I can't remember. I can't remember how many second rounders we have. Maybe it's one. I don't remember. I forgot. We got 2 ones. But we have enough picks that if it's done right, if Shane does it right. And here's the problem. Like I said, Shane always talked about, well, anyone can look like a genius when you have the 5th and the 7th pick. 2 years later, you ain't looking like a genius. Just throwing that out there. Jeff says, do you see any Josh Allen and Drake? No. No. Josh, when he was in Wyoming, he was a different type of quarterback. His accuracy was going to be the biggest issue. Mr. McCormick says, besides quarterback, we need a real middle linebacker, maybe we need 2 guards. All right, let's be honest what we need, the Giants. Okay, let's be honest. If you don't bring back Saquon Barkley, you need a running back. You're going to need a wide receiver. You're going to need a tight end. You're going to need at least 2 guards. And if you move Evan Neal to the inside, you're going to need 1 additional guard, but then you're going to need a starting right tackle. That's what you're going to need on offense. On defense, if you continue to play what you're playing, you're going to need a true 4-3 defensive end. You're going to need at least 2 outside linebackers. If Dory Jackson doesn't come back, well, it looks like he's probably not, you're going to need a starting corner. And you're going to potentially need a safety and maybe another middle linebacker. Beyond that, that's all you need. What does Steve Barkley said? Do you think Merrill would take a shot at Russell Wilson? I hope to God not. I mean, Russell Wilson is just shot. You can't succeed with Sean Payton. You got problems. Stu says the Bengals as the Giants trading up to the first for Caleb Williams. Never going to happen. I would hope the Giants would trade up. I would hope. This is what I hope. Anyone know what I hope going into this new year? I hope that the Bears take Caleb Williams. I hope that Justin Fields is available. He'll have the 4th and 5th year. He'll have the 4th year on his contract and the 5th year option. That the Giants trade like a 3rd rounder for Justin Fields. And then we end all this nonsense. And then we use our 1st round pick and get him a wide receiver and work through that way. Let's see. Zach says the Giants medical staff needs an overall because, that's a great point. How do you keep missing these injuries? They remind me of the early 2000 Knicks. The early 2000 Knicks under Isaiah Thomas couldn't figure out injuries. They'd be like, well, Eddie Curry's only going to be out for 4 games. 6 weeks later, well, Eddie Curry may be out for the rest of the season. The Giants are going down that same primrose path, and I don't get it. And this is the same medical staff. Should we go get Joe Alt? I'm not. Should we get? He's a kid from Notre Dame. He's a big kid. He's a brawler. 6'8". I think he's got to be like 325. I think he's a son of what's his name? He's a son of John Alt, isn't he? The son of He's the son of John Alt, the former player. He started to find. I know he started 8 games as a freshman. He's tall. I get worried that he was a former tight end that they moved over. I don't think I worry about his height. I really do. I worry about his power, and I worry about him struggling against stronger opponents. I don't know. I just don't see him. I think he's a good prospect. I just don't see him being physical enough to man the position at this point in time. So, when we take him later in the draft, yeah. Do you draft a quarterback in the 1st round and then let him start the season and bench him for Jones when he's ready? I don't like that. I'd take a quarterback in the 1st round. I'm starting a quarterback. Plain and simple. I'm going to start the kid. Because why not? Because we've talked about this before. You take a quarterback. We ran into this buzzsaw with Daniel Jones. You take a quarterback in the 1st round. You have 5 years to excel, to exceed, to make the Super Bowl before that contract becomes an albatross. Unless that quarterback is Josh Allen, unless the quarterback is Patrick Mahomes, your roster's going to get effed if you don't win in those first 5 years. So I have to play him. Blackbird says, we've been fixing the O-line for only 10 years. Only 10. T-Brad, we also said we're not going to rush to start a new quarterback because we still got Jones. I don't think Jones is coming back to week 5. I'm going to say week 5. I say they will take him off the IR probably week 2. You'll probably have someone like Tyrod Taylor or hope to God not Tommy DeVito start the first game or 2 of the season. And then we kind of go from there. People want Evan Neal to change position. How about making Daniel? I don't want Evan Neal to change his position. I really don't. I think Evan Neal, to his point, people focus on the Pro Football Focus, right? Rankings. I always love it because you go to the radio. You know what the problem is? If you go to Pro Football Focus, he's only at 49.9% rating. And then you look at the fact that he's only given up 2 sacks this year. He has given up multitudes of pressures, but he's only let the quarterback get sacked twice in the amount of, I think it was over 400 snaps. He said it best, Evan Neal. I can have 50 snaps in a game, and people will focus on 2 and not the other 48. Evan Neal is the new Eric Flowers. Evan Neal is the new guy on the Giants that people are going to pick on. Because you always have to have a guy you want to pick on. We need 2 edges, a wide receiver, tight end, a tackle, and a quarterback. That's it. Ox says, well, we need a lot. Yeah, we do need a lot. Todd, don't worry. Once Jones returns in November, he'll carry this team. Scrub rosters we have. I keep saying this. When are we allowed? And I did a video yesterday, or 2 days ago. When are we allowed to question the Joe Schoen? This is going to be his 3rd draft, his 3rd free agency, his 3rd time at the salary cap. We did a video and went through all the issues that he is going to have next year with the salary cap and this roster, because it's basically instructed you have your top heavy on your top 5 guys again. And yeah, you can have $45-50 million in salary cap space. She only got 36 contracts. So you really need to fill out the roster again. And I'm tired of people. Well, I love it. We'll just fill it out through the draft. How well does that work? How does that work the last 2 years? They were just filling shit out through the draft. It's not working. Hey, where's Matt from Connecticut? Where's Will Hernandez? You know, where are all these guys that were supposed to be these studs coming in that I heard for years? Where's Lorenzo Carter? You know, and I know those aren't Joe Schoen guys, but a lot of Joe Schoen guys just aren't panning out right now. I mean, we always talk about Kayvon Thibodeau, and Kayvon, you know, they'll talk about, well, he's got multiple sack games. The majority of his sacks came in 3 games. And then he's gone multitudes of games with nothing. He looks disinterested. He looks slow. And you know what? I guarantee this will happen.
Hey, kids. Look over there. Who is it? It's Kayvon, the friendly pass rusher. Oh, no. Now he's gone.
So when you have 7 sacks in 3 games and you have 11 and a half total sacks, what did you do the other time? This is my thing with Kayvon. Kayvon will probably wreck the Rams today. Why? Because it's a useless, meaningless game. He'll get 2 sacks and people will be like, look at him. He's got 13 and a half sacks going into the Eagles game. What a great season. And we talked about this before. You can't just look at the sack totals. You can't just look at that. There's a whole component because, you know, Carl Banks always said,
Yeah, you gotta look what he does because he does more on film that you just don't see.
and the problem with that, Carl, is if you do watch his film, you see a lot of things that really should make you upset. And a lot of the things that the guys on FAN said were right. But you're not going to go back and apologize because you're too busy selling starter jackets. John Alt is his father. Okay, yes, okay, I thought so. I wasn't sure. Thank you, Zach Attack. Twitter madness, Twitter morons. It's funny. Glenn says, bro, offensive not bad. We only need a quarterback, a left guard, right guard, and we're good to go. Okay, well, here's the problem. Who's your wide receivers? Who's your big name wide receiver? Darren Waller is another year older, which means Captain Brittle probably won't be back. And I can't, Daniel Bellinger is just not the answer. And if you technically need a left guard and a right guard, let's be honest, if we want to be honest. So you still might need a wide receiver. You're definitely going to need a tight end, and potentially you can need a running back because I am not going into the next season with Eric Gray as a starter at running back. I'm sorry. There's just nothing there. Todd says we need a running back or two, especially if Barkley leaves. 100%. Let's see. Travis says, give me a quarterback who can navigate the pocket, move around, things go wrong. Yeah, that's all I'm asking. It's not asking for much. Travis says, an actual solid defense who can play one against. That's what we need. We do not. Jihadi Ward technically is the only defensive end on this roster. I've said this before. Kayvon Thibodeau should be a defensive end. He should play with his hand in the dirt. He's not. He doesn't have the skill set to play linebacker. He's not big enough to play defensive end in a 4-3. But if you pair him with a run-stopping linebacker on that side that can help him set and maintain the edge against the run, you can use him as a pass rusher. He's not a Leonard Marshall. He's not going to be able to play the run as well. He does play the run well, Kayvon, but he's not going to play the run like an O.C. Umenor. He's not going to play the run like a Tuck. He's not going to play the run like a Strahan. Hell, he's not going to play the run like Matthias Kiwanuka. But if you pair him with a quality outside linebacker to help him maintain his assignments, protect the gap, he can rush the passer. Who expected the Lions and Browns to be good at Joe Falco? He's Joe Falco. I'm not calling him. I'm not. I mean, that's just crazy. He should be Shane Falco. And Evan Neal played well in some games, especially against the Bill games. He did. But everyone wants to attack him. Next gen stats are better metrics because the NFL themselves makes it from chip. Yeah, I do believe that. Next gen stats are better than Pro Football Focus. Sorry, Chris Collins. Todd says filling the roster of the draft ended Reese's run once he had bust after bust after bust. The problem is, you're right. Jerry Reese, he nailed the 2007 and 2011 draft. Both drafts, almost everyone contributed to that team, but they were all mainly not backup players. They were bit players in the system in a role. And then when they got exposed and they kind of just fell off the Giants roster, fell off the NFL rosters in total. But then when Reese started missing on drafts, that's when the whole thing just went crazy. Juan says it is vital for the Giants to trade up and get one of the three quarterbacks. I agree. I don't disagree. T-Brad says, so wait, Tim. So Neal is a bust already in his second season. Daniel Jones will still trying to see what he can do in his fifth year. Here's the worst part, T-Brad. We're going to have to wait and see what Daniel Jones can do now in his sixth year. 6 years of Daniel Jones. Most teams get rid of quarter. Don't hit the like button. I keep forgetting. Hit the like, or else I'll come to your house and talk to you in person, and I'll never leave. It'll be 6 years we could see Daniel Jones play. 6 years. Most teams get rid of a quarterback after 2 or 3. We're so stupid. We keep Daniel Jones for 6 because we didn't want him to go to free agency because we were afraid someone was going to give him $11 million a year. Bruce says, ask Mitchell Trubisky. Bruce said, we let a lot of elite talent pass us by. We have let a lot of elite talent pass us by. We really have. We really have itself. Todd says, I'll get 3 sacks again. He'll get 3 sacks again. Back as Homers will claim he did that that's the problem. That's what kills me. That's literally what kills me. You're right. That's exact. And I keep trying to explain to people they're like, well, he had multiple sack games. Okay. If you look at the multiple sack games that he had, just out of curiosity, I always go back to the Seattle game in October. He had 2 tackles and both of those tackles were sacks. He had one at the beginning of the game, and then he had one at the end of the game. So he had nothing in between. He had nothing against the Bills. Then he had his big game against the Jets. Then he had nothing against the Raiders. Then he had 2 against a bad Commanders team. Then he had a half a sack, 0-0-0. If you look in the last 2 games, Kayvon Thibodeau's stat sheet is 1 tackle in 2 games. So you're exactly right. What's going to happen is he is all of a sudden going to get these sacks. And he's Marcus Golden. That's what I always compare him. He is having a Marcus Golden-esque season. That's what he's having. And people say, well, he's got 33 pressures. Okay. What are these 33 pressures equating to? What are we looking at with these 33 pressures? Just out of curiosity. And here's the other thing that gets me with Kayvon Thibodeau. For a guy that's in his early 20s, a guy that's supposed to be the stud, guy that's supposed to never leave the field, he's only on the field for 87% of the plays. He's on defense 87% of the snaps. Last year, I guess it was good because last year he was there for 79. But he's on the field for 87% of the snaps. Where is the other 13%? You had guys for the Giants for years that were played, essentially, when you look at Blake Martinez, you look at Peppers, you look at Logan Ryan, you look at these guys that played 100% of the defensive snaps, are destructive, are forced to be reckoned with, plays 87% of the time. By the end of year 3, we should have a good idea of what Joe Shane is. Yeah, but the problem is I think we're going to have another losing year at the end of year 3. Juan says 5 years is a long time to give a player to prove themselves. RJ for the Knicks, from the Knicks gets 5 years and it's now gone to Toronto. I'm not going to get into the next trade. I'm not going to get into the next trade right now, but I'm not. There's got to be something else in the work with the next trade. I used to believe in Joe last year. I was looking at his draft saying, yeah, you could. Draft class hasn't been hot outside of Banks. Kayvon Thibodeau has games where he's quiet, but he got blocked by Jalen Hurts. He got blocked by a quarterback, and it was like I can't get around him. I can't get around him, man. I posted the video about that because I thought that was so crazy that you have a guy that's supposed to be the singularly destructive force who couldn't get around a quarterback. He couldn't get around him. It was like he was an impenetrable wall. This impenetrable force that was literally stopping him from getting around the quarterback. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the guy that everyone is talking about. This is the guy that if you go on Twitter, he is just this man. He is he is Kroll the Destroyer. But at the end of the day, he can't get around a quarterback. And I don't know if it was the lack of effort. I don't know if he didn't try, but it's crazy. He's literally like, Jalen's like, okay, I'm just going to keep up here. Just Swift, just run around. You're okay. You're fine. This is the guy. This is the guy that's the singularly destructive force that is going to bring the Giants defense into the 21st century. This is Strahan, Umenyiora, and Tuck combined into one. Do you see something going on there? He's blocked by the quarterback. Oh, Darren Waller is shot. I agree 100%. TJ Watt's 30% percentages with 40% completion rate is there you go. That's a stat. Thank you, Zach. Glenn says tight end quarterbacks are made by great quarterbacks. Here's the problem: we don't have one. We don't have a tight end. You have Daniel Bellinger next year. Waller's shot. Waller's just done. Ricky Henderson said it best. How many times with the hammies? You got a hammy. You got the hammy for the rest of your career, especially at his age. Chris says, when a quarterback and tight end can block your top 5 draft picks, star hedge, it's a definition of draft failure, I believe. You're not wrong, because we've talked about it on the show before. There has been many times that Kayvon Thibodeau has been manhandled by a tight end. And we're not talking about like a Mark Bavaro. We're not talking about a Howard Cross, who was a destructive blocking force. We're talking about just an average second-string tight end. Joe Rav says, so, Tim, we have gotten any better from the Gettledorf days? I don't know. I don't see much difference. You go 6-2. Mr. Dable, you went 6-2. And from those 8 games to where we are now, we've won. We've won how many games? So let's see, 3. So we've won 8 games since going 6-2. New project coming up. Well, exactly. What's the new project? There is a new project coming up. There is one. Jones would be good as a Bronco. Yep. Let's see. We get it. We're stupid. You're smart. Daniel Jones stinks. You're awesome. Well, you fucking figured it out, Nightwave Radio. I used to think you're a moron. Now I just think you're an idiot. T-Brad says we didn't even hedge our bet with Daniel Jones. Damn, 3rd round, 4th round picks. We could have grabbed a quarterback. Let's see. Marcus Golden had 1 season with double days. So you know what? You're too stupid to be.
That trade. Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Nightwave Radio, you're too stupid to be in the comment section. I apologize for your stupidity. For all those that are in the chat and all those that are watching on Twitter, for Nightwave Radio, I have to apologize for his stupidity. Because stupid is as stupid does, Mrs. Blue. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? This is just for Nightwave Radio.
Are you crazy? Or just plain stupid?
Stupid is stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I talked about how Daniel Jones has sucked for 5 years, but no one could just give me credit. No one could just say, no, Tim, you have literally been on Daniel Jones's ass about him sucking for 5 years. You've pointed out everything, but then I got a moron that's like, well, yeah, we know you're smart and we're all dumb. Yeah, you are. You're a fucking idiot. So don't go away. Don't go away, Matt. Just go away. People talking about drafting an O-line is still focused on tackle. The O-line can be fixed and the interior doesn't need a first-round pick. I agree. I still think you're fine at the tackles. I think you can get a guard later in the draft. I think that I worry a little bit about John Michael Schmitz a little bit. He does get pushed around at the center position a little bit. But I do think he's going to be a guy. He's going to be a quality enough center. And I do think you can fix some of your problems because a lot of the rush does come from the interior. So I do think, Flash, I do think you're 100% right. According to Pro Football Focus, 100% of completion rate devotes to the Eagles. Kayvon only had 2 pressures a game. Oh, I know. McKinney and Bobbio played 100% of the snaps. Exactly. They're always on the field. But Kayvon's like, no, I got to take a break. Did anyone watch Hutchinson and Parsons last night? Kayvon's not even on the same field. I said this before, Chris, and I've asked this question on Twitter. If you could have Bosa, you can only have one. You could have Bosa, you could have Hutchinson, you could have Parsons, or you could have Kayvon Thibodeau. Who would you take? And it's funny, though, no one picked Kayvon, but he's our singular destructive force. Let's see here. It's 9:12 where I am. Godspeed. 9:12. It's I don't think it'd be. How could it be 9:12? 9:12 p.m. Todd says, seriously, what's up, Admiral? Seriously, if a defensive lineman Lamberg Dream can get a free hammer and a quarterback, he's blocking. Kayvon just tickles him. Just imagine this for a second, guys. And I always talk about this. We could have had Josh Allen from the Jaguars. We could have Parsons as well. You could have a linebacking core with Allen and Parsons. And maybe you throw in a Karake or maybe someone else, or even Blake Martinez. How crazy is that? And instead, we got ourselves a Kadarius Toney and a Daniel Jones. I don't know. I really don't know. Hurts was blocking him with one arm. You know, it's funny though. I laugh about this picture because there is something that that technically people aren't seeing on this play. And I laugh because I mentioned it on Twitter. Technically, yes, Kayvon's being blocked by Hurts, but Kayvon's also holding. It's a defensive hold. It's a defensive hold, but you know what? We do not want to talk about or bring that up. Hey, Mr. Belford.
I'm Johnny Wishbone, psychic extraordinaire. If you need me, just think Johnny Wishbone, and I come right.
Happy New Year from Johnny Wishbone. Someone please call Joe Shin and tell him to add your guy Tim to the Scouting Report, the only YouTuber that talks logic over emotion. I could be more popular. I was talking about that with my wife the other day in reference to the YouTube and other things. I'm going to do another little project starting 2024. It's not even going to be sports. It's not even going to be politics. It's just going to be something fun. Because we're always talking about how growing this channel and stuff. And, you know, and everyone always tells me the same thing. You could be more popular if you weren't so controversial. You weren't so negative. I'm not negative. I'm just being honest. And that's like when people say, well, you know what? You are extremely intelligent in reference to always seeming to be correct. And I know, thank you for Fabian, it's Tim Stradamus. But it's not Tim Stradamus. I have no omnipotent skills. It's called common sense. When someone gets released, you go to giant Twitter. We need to sign him. Okay, well, he doesn't fit the system. We don't have salary cap space. He's too old. He's too green, or whatever the problem is. But we need to just sign him because it's Madden. Nightwave is one of Big Pat's. Oh, Big Pat's a fucking idiot. Luckily, this is the kinder, gentler Tim. We got swing culture in the house. What's up, swing culture? I don't like Kayvon's motor either. Don't hit the like button, guys. I didn't think that Kayvon. You heard the stories about him taking plays off at Oregon. Now, I admit I looked through film, but I only looked through the film that was available. So you're only going to really see the highlights. And the full games that I did see, you didn't really see him taking off a lot of plays. But there was those rumors and speculations in the draft that he took off a lot of plays in college. Well, I was wrong. He did take off a lot of plays, evidently. How many years did we sign? We'll have Waller. Waller technically, Darren. What is Darren Waller? Hold on, let me pull up my sheet here. Let's see. Darren Waller probably will be on the team next year. We converted almost all of his salary this year to a bonus. 2023, he's only got a base salary of $1 million, but he's got a dead cap number of 11, I believe, but he's only got a $4 million cap hit. So Waller's going to be on this team because I think it's a $4.4 million cap hit. So Waller's going to be on this team. Blackbird just having a good time. Nightwave was one of Big Pat's mods. Well, whatever. You know what the problem is? Not enough people watch Big Pat. And what does he really need a mod for? Let's see. How many more years should Dable and Shane get to turn this team around? You got to give them next year. You have to. Because it'll be year 3. You'll know what that first round, in the middle of next season, you'll know what the first round picks are from 2 years ago. And we got to wait and see what happens. And we got to make sure that people like Banks continue to improve. Mr. Bruce says, no one wants to say DJ sucks. I didn't. But everyone wants to highlight his one fluke season. Tim would have had the most difficult job in the world talking sense. I do have the most difficult job in the world. I have to be the bastion of hope in a sea of diarrhea. And the problem is the sea of diarrhea is getting bigger and bigger and higher and higher and higher, because then you got all these people that are jumping out saying, well, I always said that Daniel Jones wasn't going to be successful. I just love content creators that just jump on and off the bandwagon so fucking fast. Daniel Jones is great. He sucks. He's great again. The contract sucks. That new contract's great. The contract sucks again. Just have an opinion and stick with it. Yeah, sometimes you need to change with the facts, but I've said this a million times. One game does not equate to a career. One game is a moment in time, is a snapshot. Tell me after 17 games. Tell me after 34 games. Tell me after 52 games. That's like when I saw this stupid, it was on Twitter, of course. It was CJ Stroud and Daniel Jones almost have the same exact season. So you're telling me that Daniel Jones' contract is bad. Okay. And I pointed out on Twitter, first of all, Stroud's played in 13 games. Jones has played in 16. Jones is at that point in time, Jones was in his 4th year. CJ's a rookie. And then I pointed out that his yards per game is 276 to Jones is 200. His yards per completion is almost 9 when DJ's is 6. So you can't just look at numbers of his passing yards and his touchdowns and have 3 less games to compare it to and say that it's equal. Okay, why don't you take 13 games from Stroud, 13 games from Daniel Jones, and compare those? That makes sense. Jeff says we have money to grab a good guard. We don't have as much money as we think. What's up, my brother? What's going on here? What's going on, Tim? Happy holidays to the Big Blue online chat. Don't forget to hit the like button. Todd says, do you think the Giants ever run stunts in practice because their offensive line lacks like they've never seen them in one game? You know what the problem was? This has been going on like the last 5 years, if not a little bit longer. It's almost like the Giants don't know what a stunt is. They don't know how to pick it up. And we've had 4 different offensive line coaches. So if you want to blame Bobby Johnson, that's fine. And Bobby Johnson is part of the problem. But I also think the lack thereof of talent that we have on the offensive line is also a problem, because you can't, sometimes you can only make trash out of garbage. And outside of Andrew Thomas, that's the way some of this talent level on this team is. And I'm not counting JMS because he's a rookie. I'm not counting Evan Neal because he's only in year 2 and looks like he may have been playing injured. But the rest of the stuff has been garbage. Daniel Jones, the best quarterback of all time for Dallas and Philadelphia for 2 free wins. Old man, you're definitely right. I know I'm right. That's the problem. Blackbird said Giants did rush Jones back against the Raiders. I don't know if they really rushed him back against the Raiders. I really don't know. I think if he still had that neck injury, I just don't understand Dable and his philosophy in regards to injured players. I just don't get. Kayvon, let's see, Matt said, Kayvon is a pass rusher. You name linebackers and secondary position players. For example, TJ Watts played 82% of snaps. Yes, but the problem is Kayvon is also listed as a linebacker. And you have to do more than just rush the passer in this league now. You actually have to understand how to play the run. You have to understand how to play the pass. You need to if that's the case, if he's a pass rusher, then he needs to be a defensive end. And for example, with TJ Watts, how many plays do you see TJ Watts make outside of a sack? Just out of curiosity's sake, what is the ratio of TJ Watts making plays outside of sacks? Because he also has TJ Watts has got almost 60 tackles and 17 sacks. And he's also got an interception and 2 forced fumbles. Or actually, no, 4 forced fumbles. So, and TJ Watts has 15, except the year he got hurt, he's had 13.5, 14.5, 15, 22. He had the 5.5 the injury, and now he's got 17 again. So what's your point? Kayvon the tickler. Yeah, he is the tickler. My favorite thing is when I found Chris saying the Giants would be wrong about Daniel Jones, and he is not the future, and turns into the biggest homer. You did send me that clip. Kerry Collins would have gotten through Hurts. Flash Guard says, "Hey Tim, when was the last time the quarterback was taken in the pick 3 of the first 4 picks in the draft?" I can't remember when 3 quarterbacks were taken in the first 4 picks. I don't know. Honestly, I can't remember right now. Let's see. Marcus says, Tim, I saw Vis Vegas saying that he would get a first round pick from the Broncos for Jones. I question his football. If you can get a first round pick for Daniel Jones and you still have to take that enormous cap hit, because people forget, just because you trade him, the cap hit doesn't go away. A percentage of the cap hit goes away, but a cap hit doesn't go away. But if you could do that, I would take the cap hit and get a first round pick. Hell yeah. Tim's new channel idea. Tim on crack.
Gentlemen, what brings me to my next point. Don't smoke crack.
Superdeck says, the whole reason I watch this channel is because you are controversial and don't parrot the same old talking points. I never thought myself to be controversial. Never really did. I never did till I started doing YouTube. People were like, you're controversial. I don't know. I'm just me. Anyone that's met me in person goes, you're the and I always laugh because I always tell people, you meet me in person, people meet me at the games, and I go out, I got a lot of friends now from the channel, and I laugh because they're like, you're the exact same person on the mic than you are in person, except maybe you are a little bit more boisterous in person. Jeff says, when a team sucks, you're honest, we're going to say negative things. That sums it up. When things go bad, you tell the truth. When things are good, I love it when the team is playing well and people are like, well, don't you feel just stupid? You were wrong. No. But thank you for asking. Big James is in his house. We should have signed Joe Flacco. We should have. Josh Allen, 78% of the defensive snaps. Okay. Again, what are the stats for Josh Allen? And what does Josh Allen do that Kayvon doesn't do? Are we not thinking about it? Again, almost 60 tackles, 13.5 sacks, and an interception, and 2 forced fumbles. Think about this. This guy averages anywhere between 60. This guy averages probably about 57 to 60 tackles a game. I mean, not a game, a year. Again, you are not focusing on. You're focused on what you know what. You know what? I tried with you. You're going to timeout.
Get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
You need a break. You didn't get. You got Wonka. So you're in timeout for 5 minutes. Also, the Pac-12 doesn't play defense. Of course, we know that. Big old James says, salute to the chat. Salute, my brother. We also have Zach Attack saying, Waller will have to figure out a solution why I should keep his injured. My Waller. Oh, you're old. Waller is what he is. Waller was on the downside of his career for 2 years. The Raiders were trying to dump him. The Raiders are trying to dump his salary. They probably should have traded him last year, but there was some hope that they were going to make the playoffs. And then he gets hurt. And then he gets moved on to the Giants. I remember the unstoppable force he was against the All Shorts team. I remember also him almost getting Daniel Jones throwing him into contact and almost getting him killed in the preseason game against Carolina. And it just kind of went downhill from there. James says, hit the like button. If you don't, I'll keep talking. Who's texting me? Who's texting me? Okay. I'm waiting for the people to come up with the battery in the car. I'm waiting for them. I could actually do it, but the problem is they don't sell no one sells the battery around here. And it's like New Year's Eve or something. So like all the auto parts stores are closed. So maybe 1-800-BATTERY will be a new sponsor of the show. Never know. Flacco is balling. Cleveland is dangerous heading into the playoffs. I agree 100%. Marcus says, I'm shocked he made a video saying that I question Fist Vegas football knowledge. I don't think we could go through the whole Fist Vegas story because James told me the whole story, but we're not going to get into that. Blackbird says we're the only team to give Kenny G $72 million contract, even though every team was offering him to prove it deal. Dude drops passes, run half right. We talked about this when we signed Kenny G. We talked about this. I always tell people, go back and watch the video. I said the same thing. When the dude didn't want to leave the building, this isn't speculation. He didn't want to leave the building. And the Giants were only when offering him a contract, and he took it. I have no fault with that. Same thing with Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell came out and said the Giants were the only one to offer me a contract. And I thought Paris Campbell was going to do something this year. But he even said the Giants were the only team to offer me a contract. We overpaid for Bobby Okereke, which is fine because we needed a linebacker. But if you look at what like TJ Edwards and other people got, we overpaid for an off-the-ball linebacker. But sometimes as a not very good team, that's what you have to do. Joe Flacco has in 6 games, 15 touchdowns and 2,000 yards. Can we fire a special teams coach? He's been terrible for 6 years. He really has. Bruce says, I appreciate you, Tim. However, I don't think Joe deserves another year. In my opinion, he has done horrible building. We just can't get rid of him. We really can't. Don't hit the like button, guys. We can't move on from Joe Schoen yet. We're not going to move on from Brian Dable. I am concerned that you may have two coordinators, an offensive. I'm concerned that you're going to have an offensive coordinator, a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, a new special teams coach, and a new offensive line coach. That's what I'm concerned about right now. That there is going to be a massive exodus in the system, and we're going to run a whole new system again. T-Brad says, I gave Jones a chance, but people need to ask themselves, if you show Daniel Jones passing stats, rushing stats, and win-loss record, and removed, and name it, and tell me what you expect out of a franchise quarterback. No, you're right. I used to do this when Eli Manning, after 2009, I think it was. I took Eli Manning's stats up to 2009 and the Super Bowl. And I said, okay. And I didn't tell people the quarterback was. I said, you will get a Super Bowl in the first 6-7 years. These are the guy's stats. Would you accept this as your franchise quarterback? And everyone's like, oh, hell yeah. Then I would tell people, well, that's Eli Manning. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah. That's because I love it because people bash Eli Manning because his 500 record. Eli Manning was not the reason why the Giants failed in a lot of circumstances. He wasn't the reason. What he had, I'm trying to see what he had 8 4,000-yard seasons. He threw for at least 20 touchdowns in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. He threw for over 30 3 times. He won you 2 Super Bowls. He got 57,000 yards passing, 366 touchdowns, and his 244 interceptions put him actually in pretty good company. A lot of those players that are ahead of him are Hall of Famers. But that's what people want to look at stats. They don't want to look at the wins. They don't look at the Super Bowls. They don't want to look at the rings. How many drops and interceptions does Kayvon Thibodeau have? Like 6? God. He got the ball thrown right to him that one game. Wide open. No one in front of him. And he drops the pass. Blackbird says, bad dog man, Daniel Jones is not the future of the Giants video. Makes it Jones is growing on me. Makes an apology video, Jones, and now Jones sucks again. A lot of giant content creators flip-flop. There's one that doesn't. I'm not going to say who. Guys, I got a new slogan for Twitter gurus out there. This is the drug. This is your brain on drug Twitter. Any questions? Fisk Vegas suddenly went from defending Daniel Jones to all of a sudden he got coaches fired. We need to draft a quarterback. Oh, my God. I tell you, man. Zacatech says blocked field goals in week 1 sets the tone for the entire season. I do agree. I do really. That's actually a good point, Zach. I was at that game. Let's see. Do you think EB regrets leaving KC for Washington? You would. When Eric Bieniemy left Kansas City, I didn't think he was going to do it to go to Washington, because why would you go to a place where you don't have a quarterback? Sam Howell, like I said, Sam Howell is Sam Howell, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. I would have stayed in KC. I think Andy Reid may be there 2-3 years, and hopefully you return and be the predecessor for Andy Reid. Not the predecessor. You were the heir apparent. Josh Allen is a turnover machine. I'll take Lamar Jackson over other quarterbacks. I loved it also when people were still comparing Lamar Jackson to Daniel Jones, and then I pointed stuff out to people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well, I didn't look at those stats." Okay, you could cherry pick stats. That's fine. But the problem is you would have to then be willing to understand that when you cherry pick a stat, someone is probably then going to show you stats that kind of shoot down your whole premise. Anyone can quote stats. Anyone can make anything look good. 80% of the people can tell you that. Paris Campbell is gone. I think he's gone too. Blackbird says, is there a reason the low lines let K? There was a reason. We talked about this with the hip. He had the hip pointer, and people in Detroit thought he could play. And I told the story. I remember talking to a Detroit Lion fan and telling him, hey, we got Kenny G. We got baby Megatron, 2,000-yard seasons. He was like, so, goodbye. That made me worry immediately. We need to fix the entire roster. Danny, you're not wrong. We must give them two. You got to give them at least 2 more years. You're right. Zach says, if Buffalo collapses, I've already said this. If Buffalo, good point, Zach. If Buffalo collapses, I see the Giants losing Dable. I see Dable going to Shane and saying, hey, listen, I want to go to Buffalo. He's not going to go to San Diego. I'm not saying he's not going to go to the Rams, not Rams, Chargers, Los Angeles. Too many fucking teams in Los Angeles. But I see him pushing his way out into Buffalo. Chris says, I don't think they use Campbell right 3 yards and outs and end runs aren't the way to use him. No, it's not. But you're not wrong. I wish I could say you were wrong. Jason, I have a feeling they keep only name the main cards and defensive coach, quarterback coach, and probably going to stay. I do think you're right. Protect says, I also think major changes in the coaching staff happens at the end of years. All 3 coordinators will be fired. That's what scares me. That's what scares the hell out of me, that you are going to fire your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, your offensive line coach, your special teams coach. And honestly, if you fire your offensive coordinator, there may be a chance that you're going to fire your quarterback's coach as well, because your offensive coordinator probably wants to work with someone that they want to bring in, unless Dable just takes over the play calling responsibility and does like what Eric Bieniemy did his first 3 years in Kansas City. He installed the game plan all week long, and Andy Reid called the games on Sunday. It's too early to move on for Dable and Joe. Dable has control his temper and stop showing players up. We talked about this. We talked about this last week with Dable. The problem with Dable is his antics on the sideline when you're winning. That's just him being Dable. That just makes him colorful. Yeah, we like when he gets in players' faces because he's winning games. When you're losing and you're doing the same stuff and you're complaining on every play of the ref, you're showing up your players. It just makes you look like an asshole. And I said it last year. As soon as the Giants start losing this fan base, but first the media and his players will turn on Dable. And it turned out, looks like part of his coaching staff, some of the players and the media has already turned on Dable. because of his antics. He plays in every damn game, says James. Kafka is gone. Kafka's got to be gone. Kafka's just a mistake. Eli had some really bad teams around him the last 5-6 years of his career. Still put up solid numbers. He second to last season, he threw for over 4,000 yards, but nobody wants to talk about that. Kayvon dropped the ball dropped the ball, thrown right to him. Imagine hating on Bad Dog. I don't hate on Bad Dog. But you can't flip-flop so many times. James says, unlike Danny Crimes, the Giants did fail Eli's last year's. They did. I agree 100%. Buffalo won't collapse. They'll win out. I hope they do win out. I really do. Mr. Bruce says, Tim, I think after we lose today's game against Tim, you may need to open up a therapy session. I think I'm emotionally traumatized from watching the MJ New York Midgets. We won't do a show. We usually do a show after the game. I mean, not after the game, after the day after the win or the loss. But since it is New Year's Eve on New Year's Day, I'm not going to do a game. I'm not going to do a show tomorrow. Maybe we'll do a live stream on Tuesday. I haven't decided yet, but we will talk about that. Lewis T said Howell was like Patrick Mahomes in the beginning of the year, the best quarterback prospect in the division. Now they're talking about getting Caleb Williams. Sometimes you're wrong. That James says that means Kayvon is going to get a big contract for his disappearing act. He really should get a big contract. Let's see here. Bobby Johnson is gone. I'm not hating on Bad Dog. I watch his content. No, I'm not hating on Bad Dog either. I understand that. Nobody's hating on anybody. It just proves the point that he's good. I mean, no, he sucks. He's good. He sucks again. Wait, he's hurt. No, he's good. Let's give him a contract. No, wait, now he sucks. I think I've been very consistent about my opinion on Daniel Jones. I looked at that. I looked at 2022 and said, I don't see it. And I was called a hater. After the Minnesota playoff win, I said, I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. And maybe it's because I've watched too much football since going back to 76, but I'm like, I don't get it. I don't see it. That's what I kept telling people. I don't get it. What are you seeing? I see almost under 200 yards a game passing, almost 2 to 3 yards below the league average in reference to pass per completion. I only see 15 touchdowns. I see a guy that's indecisive in the pocket. I see him play in a dome where he always plays well against one of the worst defensive teams I've seen in the playoffs in the last 25 years. And all I said after that game was, I gave him all the credit in the world. I gave him all the props in the world. I said, but show me something against Philadelphia. And then I'll have more of a belief in Daniel Jones. He didn't show shit. He fell apart. A quarterback would fix all of our problems, but and a quarterback's not going to fix all the problems. Well said, Flash. A quarterback's not going to fix all the problems, but it's going to fix a lot of them. It could fix some of your wide receivers issues. No, we got it, Blackbird. You're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about it. You're fine. You're cool. Kayvon, Tippy Toe. We got OGR with a big old super chat saying, Happy New Year, Tim. A little early. May 2024 be better than 2023. For the Giants, I hope it is. I really do. I really do. Lex Luthor in the house. Lex Luthor, that's OGR Sports, of course. I was told that we could not draft a quarterback until we fix the offensive line, so Daniel Jones stays, I guess. Denver is showing us what to do with Daniel Jones. Yeah, get rid of his ass. Pack his ass up. Put him in. We can't, though. But if someone does tell me that you can get a first-round pick for Daniel Jones, but I have to eat the salary for this last year, I would do that. I would take the $68 million cap hit for a first-round pick because Daniel Jones is probably only going to play 10 games next year anyways. Your cap is kind of farked anyways. So why not? Let's see. James says, if you watch Ohio State versus Missouri, then you'll know what not having a quarterback is the problem. Oh, I don't disagree. I haven't been into the bowl games. They haven't been that great. Why does the Giant fan turn on Slayton, but will defend Daniel Jones when he makes mistakes? Because here's the reason why. I don't know. And then when Slayton finally comes out and speaks, because we haven't heard Slayton talk in 5 years. But when he finally comes out and voices his opinion about being called out on the sideline, he's a malcontent. You're a good soldier for 5 years. You have one bad, not even a bad moment. I don't think it was a bad moment. I think he just did something that you probably shouldn't do in the NFL. He spoke the truth. But all of a sudden, he's a malcontent. He's a malcontent. Jay says, if the Giants don't get a quarterback in the first round, what are your guesses on what they would want to pick? And would you take Marvin Harrison? I think you're talking about. I can't take a wide receiver without having someone to throw him the ball. Everyone's like, we need to, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it's not a bad pick, but if you don't have anyone to get Marvin Harrison the ball, what does it matter? I mean, and I'm just throwing it out there. Seriously, what does it matter? You could have Jerry Rice, Steve Largent, Terrell Owens, all in their prime, on the field at once. And if Daniel Jones couldn't throw them the ball, what would it matter? Because he doesn't look downfield. So you can't take a weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr., put him on the Giants, and expect him to perform because you don't have a quarterback can throw the ball more than 20 yards. Beat Bully James. Well, Happy New Year, Tim. What's up? Happy New Year to yourself. Let's see here. Happy New Year, Hirsch for real in the chat. What's going on, Hirsch? Slayton's let's see, Black. Slayton's been our best wide receiver in the last 3 seasons. He has. He's a number 2. Slayton's not number 1. He's a number 2 and a number 3, but he's been a good soldier. Let's see. The bowl games have sucked. Damn transfer portal. Yeah, I haven't watched. So the bowl games that I've seen have just been terrible. Let's see here. Listen, in Florida State, you know, it's funny. We talk about Florida State not making it into the top 4, not making it to the playoffs, and then they get wrecked by Georgia. Listen, if Joe Shane can somehow get a first for Jones with an injured ACL, I would consider him a demigod. If Shane could get a first-round pick for him with a torn ACL, knowing he probably went back to week 3 or 4, maybe 5, Shane should have a job for life with the Giants. Slayton is generally a quiet guy. Slayton is a second string wide receiver. He is. But you know what's funny? If you do need a second string wide receiver and a third and a fourth. Because if you run a 4 wide receiver set and you don't have 4 wide receivers, you got a lot of problems. Let's see here. Hirschfield's happy birthday, James. James says, come on, take Marvin Harrison and waste him like the Jets are wasting Wilson Garrett. Yeah, you're not wrong. Marvin Harrison Jr. was a bust written all over him, in my opinion. I don't think he has bust written all over him. I really don't. I just think if he comes to the Giants and you don't have anyone that can throw him the ball, it just doesn't make sense. That's the problem. We talk about how a quarterback needs weapons. Our quarterback doesn't have any weapons. Well, here's the problem. If the quarterback cannot throw the ball to the wide receiver, it doesn't matter what wide receivers we have. It won't matter. If you have a running quarterback whose first option is to check down, and the second option is to run, what does it matter if you're looking down the field, you know? And like I said, you see Jerry Rice. It doesn't matter. You're not getting the ball to him. Hirschfield, the Giants need to draft a quarterback and no ifs and ends. And Liz, yeah, you're right. You need to draft a quarterback. You need to draft a quarterback. You need to draft a quarterback. I mean, I'm just sitting here. Don't hit the like button, guys. I'm just sitting here trying to think logically why you wouldn't take a quarterback. 30 likes, that's just terrible. Should have at least 40. But why wouldn't you take a quarterback? It's only the most important position on the field. It's only usually the face of the franchise. It's only the way you direct your offense. Beyond the center, the quarterback handles the ball more than any other person. So why wouldn't we go that direction? Zach said we should trade Daniel Jones to the Falcons for a first-round pick. James also said, hey, Florida's didn't have their quarterback, half of their starters, still scored 3 and lost 40-0 for being fully healthy. Yeah, that's true. Let's see. We've been drafting wide receivers since 2021, says Blackbird. Zach says Giants Twitter is like Lizzie going to diet advice. Oh my goodness gracious. Trade the first pick, trade it with the Bears for Fields and draft a wide receiver. I would do this. If the Bears really wanted Caleb Williams, but I don't think they're going to take Caleb Williams. I really don't. I think they're going to stick with Justin Fields. I think they're going to trade that first pick, get a whole, because they need a lot of stuff. I just don't see them doing it. I mean, you got a guy who was hurt with a thumb injury, still thrown for over 2,100 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I don't know how many rushing yards he has right now, but you do have a guy that you can create an offense around. I mean, you have this guy that can make things happen. He's got 18 total touchdowns. So why? I mean, he's going to get better. He's been getting better. I mean, you look at it, he's played in 4 less games right now, and he's still less than 100 something yards away from having career yardages, and he could probably get his career highs and touchdowns and still get his rushing yards. So, I mean, I would trade for Justin Fields. A knife in the hand of a fool can only cut butter, is in the hand of an expert is a sword. Ooh, I like that. I like that, Flash. Danny says, so let's say a top 3 quarterback off the boards, which is what next one up. It better not be Bo Nix. I don't want Bo Nix. Oh God, I don't want Bo Nix. Mary wants Archie Manning. That's why. Tim will do a live stream at Tuesday at 5:07. I don't know what we're gonna do on Tuesday yet. 5:07, that'd be a good time. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if you could do times like 5:07. I think you got to be set in 15-minute intervals. I would try that though. Daniel Jones to comeback 2024 comeback player of the year. Let's see. Fields threw more touchdowns than Jones in 20. He did, and he had more rushing yards as well. So it must make him such a better quarterback. James will be going to the game with Tim versus Philly. I don't know what's going on yet. We're gonna see. I'm gonna see what's going on with the Philly game. McCormick says there are a lot of mock drafts out there drafting Joe Alt. I don't like the idea. If we go that direction, I think the team will be bad for a long. I still think if you don't have a quarterback to throw the ball, and I know that seems very redundant to say, but that's their job, then it doesn't matter who's blocking for them. If he's not willing to look down the field. It's funny that at certain points in time, the offensive line has looked better on the Tyrod Taylor. And I always talk about 2004 with the Giants. Kurt Warner took a plethora of sacks. Giants had a bad offensive line. They brought in the rookie quarterback named Manning, and he took half the amount of sacks than Kurt Warner. Did the offensive line automatically get better? No, he got rid of the ball faster. The Bears have a coaching problem, not a quarterback problem. Oh, I agree with that. That's a good one. I agree with that. 100%. I agree with that. Blackbird says the Bears are going to trade out. If you swap out Lamar and Fields, you get the same results. Same thing happens with Fields and Hurts. I would take Justin Fields, but I agree. Chris Ramirez still has a final say over Joe Shane as a player, a director personnel. I don't remember. I don't know if that's, I forget about it. I don't remember if that's true because Shane talked about that. Quarterbacks takes precedence over Joe Alt. I agree. Where's my shoe? Where's my shoe? Hold on, everybody. Tyrod Taylor didn't take as many sacks as Jones. Neither did Tommy DeVito. It's at one point, then all of a sudden, Tommy DeVito had a 0-sack game. But everyone seems to kind of forget that. Tommy DeVito had a 0-sack game. Oh, wow. You could write things in the chat on Twitter. I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could do that. Okay. I'm missing the Twitter comments. Rome was sacked less than Daniel Jones during the barbarian invasion. And they say Rome wasn't built in a day. James Williams says the only difference is Jones is getting to Arizona like Kurt Warner was taking a team to the Super Bowl. Yeah, everyone forgets what Kurt Warner. What's up, Pete Thoreau? What's going on, my brother? How you doing? Mr. McCormick says if it's the top 3 quarterbacks are taken, I'm looking at Penix. I do think Penix is one of the top 3, though. If it's my top 3, I'm gonna go. I've talked about it before. I'm going Williams, Daniels, and Penix. That's what I'm saying. That would be my top 3. I don't like Bo Nix much. He's a better quarterback than he was early in half his career. I don't want McCarthy, and I don't want Drake May. So if someone thinks that Penix is in the top 3 and Penix drops down to us at 5, I might have to think about Penix. And like I say, you don't have to take quarterback in the first round. It's not it's just not, it's just I don't know. James says, Bad Dog did finally say Tyrod was better than Danny DeVito. Well, good. About time. Joe Barry is a terrible defensive coordinator for the Packers. He makes the quarterback look good. I agree. Chris says, if Mara has final say over Shane, then all things football are lost. The nightmare will be ended, period. I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. Pete says, I saw your tweet about Daniel Jones, CJ Stroud, and I'm literally cracking up. People are so dumb. I just pointed out, we talked about it a little earlier, for those that missed it. People were comparing CJ Stroud this season to Daniel Jones last season, and they were saying, well, at the end of the day, if you look at the stats, they're very similar. So you're basically saying CJ Stroud, you wouldn't take him number 1 overall, and Daniel Jones had a terrible year. And I pointed out that you're comparing people that played in 13 games against a person that played in 16 games, who a 4-year starter, to a rookie. To a guy that's throwing for 276 yards a game, to a guy that threw for barely 200, for a guy that is over league almost at 9 on passing attempts, to a guy that's at 6 yards per passing attempt. And I keep saying it. You want to point out stats, that's fine, but give all the stats. Just don't give the stats to make your guy look good when you're missing like 40 other categories. What do we got here? Feature says, where do you think Penix gets drafted? Like in the range? I still think Penix is going anywhere between 10 to 15. I'm saying 10 for Penix. Unless something changes on the big board, unless someone decides not to come out, unless someone does decide to come out, I do think he's going to be 10 to 15. Like I said, I am curious to see. I know he's listed as 6'3". I'm curious to see if he's college 6'3". Penix, that is. It's the injuries. Like I said, the injuries, the windup. He's 23. He'll be 20. He'll be 24. He'll be 24. I think the start of the draft. So he's a little bit older, but that doesn't bother me as much. But it's the injuries and the wonky windup that bother me a little bit. But I like Penix. I would not be, if the Giants took Penix in the first round, I would not be upset. Blackbeard says, creating a 5th-year quarterback to a rookie is insane. Yes, people on Twitter are insane. Jack says, Williams or Daniels if the Giants decide Giants draft quarterback, in my opinion. I'm still on the Caleb Williams bandwagon. I really am. I know, like I said, a lot of people, we talked about it earlier in the stream, that a lot of people think he's lost his luster. I think if you're looking, a lot of people are afraid of his diva-esque attitude. I don't think he's like a Josh Rosen. I think he's going to grow up a little bit, but I think all kids coming to college got to grow up a little bit. As long as he's not living at home with mommy and daddy or doing his laundry and feeding him. Not looking at you, Tommy DeVito. At that point in time, I mean, if you're looking for all the intangibles, if you're looking for the size, you're looking for the strength, you're looking for the arm strength, you're looking for the accuracy, you're looking for the ball placement, if you're looking for the speed, you're looking for a guy that's going to be a 21st century quarterback, you got to take Caleb Williams if he's there. And I think Jaden Daniels, like I said, the thing that I think we've pounded this into the dirt a million times. He's Jaden Daniels. He's a skinny kid. I don't see him bulking up much. Is he more of a Randall Cunningham-esque physique? Is he like a rubber band? Okay, then I'm okay. But I don't know if he could take the day-to-day pounding of the NFL. We've seen Caleb Williams have some issues offensive line-wise with USC, and we know he can take the hit. I just worry about Jaden, but I do think that Jaden Daniels is a stellar prospect, and I do think he's a 21st century quarterback. But if I had a choice between the two, I gotta take Daniels. I gotta take Williams. Mr. Roberts says, "Hey, what's up, Mr. Roberts? Listen, the Giant Twitter isn't that bright. They said Caleb Williams is going to be the next Dwayne Haskins and be a bust. They're not that bright. These are the same people who were melting over Dwayne Haskins that one season out of Ohio State with 50+ touchdowns. And there's dumbass Tim. I was a racist because I said I don't like quarterbacks who only have 1 year starting in college. I don't like quarterbacks who have NFL, majority of the roster is NFL talent, and then you're going to use that as the intangible. I called, R.I.P. Mr. Haskins. I called him a lollipop thrower. And I basically said, if you look at the top of a lollipop, you watch his deep pass, it looks like it's going over the top of a lollipop. And I said, that is not going to mix well in the NFL because defensive backs are just going to sit under his pass routes. But I was a racist. Let's see. I want them to trade up to get Caleb, and the Bears still owe us Fields. They do still owe us Fields. They should just give us Fields. If Caleb drops from 1 to 3, if he drops from 1 to 3, hell yeah, I'm trading up. Fuck yeah, I'm trading up. I'm running to wherever I'm running to trade up. Chris says, I'm fine with Caleb losing his luster. That hope many teams think. I hope Caleb Williams falls down. I really do. Tim said, do you think did you like CJ Stroud out of Ohio? Yes. James Williams and I debated on Ohio State quarterbacks because I talked about CJ Stroud and I said, yes, I do. I like CJ Stroud a lot. And we talked, and James and I were talking, and we did it on a stream. We talked about the failure of Ohio State quarterbacks. And I said, this is a guy that is a different quarterback. Zach Cunningham is out today for the Eagles. This is a guy that's a different quarterback. This is a guy that had difference maker written all over him. That's like when people blast me because I like Jalen Hurts. I thought Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones because of the fact of what he does in his intangibles. And I think that's the same thing with CJ Stroud. I didn't think CJ Stroud was going to be as good as he has been on what was presumably going to be a bad Texans team. But I did think that it's, I did think he was going to play well. Just, I didn't think he was going to play well this early. Jane says, our players are nicknames, including Danny No Dimes, Casper, Papa Wandale Smurf, and Sexy Dexy does a lot. Twitter is in general low for the lower. Twitter does lower my IQ. I got to stay off Twitter. Mr. Ramos says, but if you trade up for Jaden Daniels, there's a solution because with a battle, no way to avoid the issues. The quarterback is a running ability, i.e. Lamar. Oh yeah, you got to take a running quarterback. And you got to take a running quarterback who can take the rigors of the NFL. Doesn't Caleb want to stake in a team that drafted him? I saw he did want to stake in a team that drafted him. That's not going to happen. He could. I want to stake in an NFL team too, but they're not going to give me one. I am part owner of the Packers. I do have my Packer stock, so I am technically an NFL owner. Nick says, if my Knowles had made the actual playoffs, the team on the field would have been a lot different. Still, no Jordan Trapp. Yeah, you're right. You're not right, but they did get blown out. Twitter is a big landfill for Jimmy Hoffa's burial ground. It's a bigger landfill. Excuse me. Yeah, and of course we all know Jimmy Hoffa was buried in the left corner of the home end zone in the Meadowlands. We all know that. I keep losing my monitors here. What's going on? I keep losing. All right, guys, it is 11:33. Make sure you hit the like. I'm going to check out early today because it is New Year's Eve, so I'm going to go hang with the family. We have a giant game at 1. Will we have a video today? I don't know. Well, we'll probably have a video after the game, but we're not going to have any to stream on Monday. I want to wish everyone a very happy and safe New Year's. Go out, have a good time. Do not drink and drive. There are things called Uber. There are things called ride sharing. There's no need. If you want to taste in the libation of the New Year's celebration, go for it. And then afterwards, when you wake up the next morning, make sure you get your Magic Mind. The perfect elixir for the hangover cure. I don't know if that's true. It could be. It's full of vitamins and minerals and matcha. Matcha man. We want to thank Magic Mind for being a sponsor of the show. Partner of the show. Same thing with Mint Mobile this year. We got a new partner coming up. We got a couple new partners coming up next year as well. So just everyone have a wonderful and safe holiday. We will have a stream on Tuesday so we can hear about everyone's New Year's. And you know what, everyone? As always, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to ring that bell because this is Tim. This is New Year's Eve. Hope yourself a wonderful day. Hope the Giants win. You know what, guys? As always, I'm out of here. Be safe.